Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, August 5th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarification points. Number one, the price you see over here will still be moving around and changing, and the candlestick will be shifting around. That is because the market is still open for a small amount of time. I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement live here on video. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning that each one of these candlesticks here, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, ticker symbol AMD, and huge move today. So got the breakout from earlier on. There was the trend line right there that it broke through that opening 30 minutes and never really looked back. But what's nice about this is it has now formed a very, very nice pattern. So I want to be very clear. In no way am I trying to impress you. In no way am I trying to imply that this is some sort of special talent or secret discovery. Not at all. I assure you that people around the world have noticed this. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very worthwhile movement. And the level here that a lot of people are going to be watching is right up here at 104.35-ish, but mainly not necessarily that level, but just the general overall pattern here. So let me get the next part of the pattern in play there. With that trend line, get that changed to green to represent more so the support part of the pattern. And then maybe to make it a bit easier to see, let's just make it one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big momentum move here. And for you golfers out there, let's make it a little more visual. We'll put the golf hole down here. So this would be known as a bull pennant pattern. And you know a bunch of people are watching it. So again, does that guarantee anything? No, no such thing as a guarantee. But is it plausible? Is it valid to think that if the price can come up here and get a pattern breakout, that break just in and of itself, you know, self-fulfilling prophecy could create that much more upside buy pressure? Once more, not a guarantee, but is that a valid thought process? Absolutely. So if you like to play bull pennants, here you go. Next, APDN, and a huge move for this one. Now, this will mean a tad bit more to those of you that watched the video from Wednesday, but talked about that trend line there. Got the break up through it. Took a little bit of time, but then exploded, especially this afternoon. So a beautiful trend line and break. Not as clean as what I'm sure some people would have liked, but still nonetheless broke out, never pulled back or anything, and then just got that much more continuation. So in other words, the overall uptrend continues. And on that note, I think a level that a lot of people will be watching from the sports side of things, just because it sticks out like a sore thumb now, is this very nice trend line right there. So from a support standpoint and a level that, of course, you can't say that for sure guaranteed everybody's watching that level, but is it a logical assumption to think that a lot of people are probably watching that trend line? Absolutely, which circles us back to the whole idea of potential self-fulfilling prophecies. So keep an eye on that from the support side of things. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, main level right now to keep an eye on is right up there at that $7 mark. And then again, from a little pattern perspective, we have the resistance, we have the support, we have the big momentum move right there. So in this case, more of a bull flag pattern, but whether you want to call it a bull flag or bull pennants, not really the, you don't want to get caught up in just semantics. The overall idea here is that, yes, this thing continues putting those higher lows and higher highs via the uptrend. So keep an eye on $7 as that next key breakout point. But overall, yeah, great looking uptrend here. Next one, ticker symbol MF, and this one very well could be game over, so I'm not refuting that at all. However, the whole idea of a watch list is to not find stocks and then just rush out and buy them, but to find unique, to find interesting situations, and then watch and see how they ultimately behave and see if they behave in a way that fulfills your personal strategy. So like I said, this is still a very unique and interesting situation because, yeah, it moved big. Yeah, it's a penny stock, had big volume. But right now, there certainly is a downwards channel to it. Volume has really, really dried up. But from a volume analysis standpoint, as any textbook or whatever is going to tell you, you do want to see volume drop off during those pullbacks, which is what's happening. But what makes this still interesting and why it's belonging on the watch list is when you factor in the big momentum move here via the gap up, you actually have yourself a nice solid bull flag pattern. Now, to reiterate, to be fair, maybe it is game over. Maybe nobody cares. Maybe the volume is just going to, drift into oblivion and that continues. That's totally possible, but it is a two-sided coin because on the other side of that coin, well, maybe this isn't game over. Maybe this is just a healthy consolidation. Then all of a sudden, this thing's going to explode to the upside. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but what everybody can know and can agree upon is that this is a good, solid situation. Penny stock with big volume, big movement. It's got a nice pattern to it, and not just a situation of watching and seeing what ultimately happens with it. So if you do like to play penny stocks, like bull flag patterns, here you go. Next one, GOVX, and what a monster afternoon this thing had. Early on in the day, actually gapped down, but nothing really was going on. You can see very, very low volume, and then the volume kicked in, and up it went. But what makes this interesting, and this will mean more of those that watched the video from several days ago, but I'm going to go ahead and just extend this trend line out, which I had put in there previously, and you can see that, lo and behold, the power of charts. Isn't that crazy? Price from several days ago, that's right where it ultimately started to have problems with the momentum, maintaining and sustaining itself right up around that level, which puts the key breakout point right around, let's just call it $3.75. Now, the good news here, and what makes this a very unique, interesting situation, per the discussion we just had, is that it's still well within striking distance of potentially breaking through that level. Now, you got to be a little careful because the chart has told us that this trend line can be a little tricky in the sense of a fake breakout. But again, it's more than rational to think and watch that level and say, okay, I bet a lot of people are watching that trend line. So if the thing does break up through there, then it very well could lead to a whole nother round of upside buying pressure via those breakout players. So like I said, very, very interesting. And such, actually, not that I put the stocks in order of how much I like them, but I don't know why this one didn't end up in the first three, just because this is really such a nice, clean setup. Price right below this trend line. So does it break out on Friday? Let's see what happens. Next one here, AMC, and I feel like I sound like a broken record, but as I've continued to say over the past several days of doing this videos, the uptrend continues. Higher highs and higher lows, and as boring as it may be, I realize AMC has that track record of making huge explosive movements all in just a couple of days, but in all actuality, usually the healthy weight is just slow and steady, which is what this one's been doing. So yes, once again, higher highs and higher lows. The one update that does need to be made is just based on the foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So 1815 is now what I would call that ideal level of support, meaning if you were to ask Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute best moving forward? That would be if the price stays above 1815. But with that being said, don't get me wrong. It's not like if the price falls below that level, then everything's ruined or anything like that, because you do still have the overarching moving average right here, that purple line, 50-period moving average. So from a broader sense, as long as the price stays above that purple line, as the line itself moves higher and higher, then the overall trend is still perfectly fine. In terms of areas of resistance moving forward, key level to watch is going to be right there at that trend line, which puts the breakout point, give or take, right up around $19.40. So keep an eye on that. But at the end of the day, as long as the thing keeps on putting those higher highs and higher lows like it's been doing, that is by far what matters most. Real quick, wanted to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online training that I'm offering. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, why it's so powerful and how it can be so helpful in building consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the free training. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage to click to get signed up. Now, one unique situation, because it actually is live, that'll determine a couple things. So if you already have something on your schedule tonight as a father of 5 young kids, I understand schedules get busy, then that's all right. You might not be able to attend. Go ahead, drop me an email because the live event will be recorded. So I would be happy to send you a recording after it's all done so you can watch it. Or maybe you're just watching this, for example, Friday morning and you've just completely missed it. That's okay too. Again, go ahead, drop me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and I would be happy to send you a link of the recording after it's all complete. Now, of course, if you can make it live, well, then definitely get signed up for it. Next one here, SOPA, and not quite sure what I think about this one. Now, I do know enough to say, well, this is pretty ugly. This is pretty nasty. Is the chart broken? And I don't know, but the whole core was, okay, Clay, just via the fact that you're kind of struggling, what's going on, this is pretty nasty, but it's kind of unique, goes to show that, hey, this is a very interesting situation, and that's, based on the philosophy of what a watch list is. So there's a bunch of different choices. Maybe you're looking at this saying, no, this is game over. Maybe you're someone that says, you know what, I love to play these pullbacks where things start to get really, really ugly, because a lot of times the price will capitulate and then just continue on up. Now, like I've said, there are no guarantees, so I'm not saying that's what's going to occur, but the point here being is if you do like these situations where things get pretty ugly and there's no need to, beat around the bush, this thing's looking pretty ugly right now, then there can still be, though, some very interesting opportunities. Now, on these ones, you definitely want to be good with managing risk. You don't want to turn on those people that holds and hope. So I am operating under the premise that if you are going to, make movements on these, you do have a good risk-based strategy. But, just from a support standpoint, very interesting situation down here at $2, which will require this thing to get that much more ugly. But hey, if it gets that ugly, then $2, I could see creating a very nice risk reward ratio, meaning if it doesn't go your way and it keeps collapsing, oh well, you're out with a very small controlled loss. But if you do get some sort of bounce and turnaround, then compared to what was being risked, you could be looking at a very, very nice upside gain. So like I said, if you do like to play these scenarios where things are looking pretty ugly, but you realize there can be opportunity in the ugly, then I'd say keep an eye on this one. Next one here, COIN, Coinbase here. And same, and I put this one strategically because same general concept is this thing is certainly looking very ugly. I mean, to think, true story, people were buying up there, and then this thing is basically pulled back the rest of the day. But what makes this interesting is that this is still all occurring within an overall uptrend. In fact, let me do this to add in a bit more context and get ourselves more so a trend line in play, which you can see the price from that trend line perspective hasn't even gone down there and tested it. So I could see the argument that, you know what, Clay, I want to see this pull back a bit more. And for anybody, well, what makes you think that it might pull back a bit more? Well, the fact that this trend line hasn't even been tested. So I completely see that. I also see the viewpoint that, well, I think it's starting to consolidate. I mean, check out that last 30-minute candle. Nice little green hammer. Let me zoom back in here. That's starting to form. So I can also see, that viewpoint. But again, going back to the whole, hey, what's an interesting situation? Coinbase today was absolutely crazy. Now, as far as breakout players are concerned, I think a level that, and we'll call this a self-fulfilling prophecy level, but a level that you got to think a lot of people have put in there is that trend line right there. Very, very well defined. So if the price can come up there and break through it, guarantee no. Rational to think that that could create some good solid upside buying pressure and potentially get this thing back up to $100. In my mind, that seems like a reasonable and possible outcome. But again, for you pullback players, down there around that trend line there, I can completely see where your mind might be at in that regard too. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and in fact, let me get this trend line here extended out because that could very well be coming into play tomorrow. But what a crazy level right here at this red trend line, which I drew previously. Now, granted, the price did break up above it and act like maybe it wanted to stay up above it, but ultimately during that second 30 minutes, you can see the price fell back below it right there, and then check it out. I mean, the power of charts. So again, get signed up for that class or drop me an email. Charts, while not perfect, there is no perfect tool. They're certainly very valid and helpful. But after it fell down below that level, check it out. That level went right back to acting as resistance once again. And going back to, what was that? I think GOVX, same general idea is, but the good news here is that, and what makes it so interesting is, check out Tesla. It's oh so close to potentially, once again, maybe getting a breakout through that level. And once it gets through there, it's valid to think that a lot of people could then start to pour in just because, oh, look, I'm a breakout player. Oh, look, Tesla's breaking out. So whether that's through stocks or, playing call options or something, you got to think that lots and lots of people are going to be watching that level. And then even from a pullback standpoint, just given the nature of things now, that purple line has essentially moved itself to be the same value of that green line right there. So you got to think that bears are thinking, yeah, but I think if this thing comes down here and fails, that could create some downside pressure, which I can see that side of things too. But those are definitely going to be the two main levels that I'm watching tomorrow for Tesla. Next, NERV, and this is a pullback here, so it goes back to, I probably should have put this at the other spot in the watch list, but it is what it is. Same general idea, nice, solid upwards movement, but yeah, now you do have this downwards channel that's formed. Volume has severely dropped off, but from like I said earlier, from a textbook perspective, dropping volume is what you would want to see. So you can see the bull flag here that has formed, kind of drew it in a very shaky way. But overall, it just goes to show that, you know what? You don't always have to play breakout. Sometimes the best way to go about it and to approach a situation is a pullback, because at least with a pullback, you don't have that worry in the back of your mind of, am I going to be the sucker that buys the top? Like, is this FOMO? Am I suffering from fear of missing out right now? And in this situation, no, you don't have to worry about that. The people that were the suckers that were buying the top and suffering from FOMO, they were buying there, they were buying right there. Now, just because it's pulled back does not mean that it's going to be a winning trade. I'm just trying to say that at least you can eliminate that worry of, oh, great, am I going to be that sucker? So if you like to play these pullbacks in stocks that have shown some good, solid upwards momentum, worth keeping an eye on this one. Next one, ALNA, and just hop right into it. The trend line that stands out to me is that area right there. And then we have this support right there. So maybe you could argue a rising wedge, which is bearish, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd agree with that. I understand if you disagree with me and say, no, that is a rising wedge. I hear you. But like I said, point here really being is, once again, let's not get into semantics. Is it a rising wedge? Isn't it? The idea here is that check out the last part of the day. Volume came surging in. So really it's as simple as this. And sometimes this is as straightforward as trade needs to be. Does this volume continue tomorrow? And if it does, and if you're a penny stock player, then, this could be the start of a whole lot more big swings. And as, penny stock people, that's what you want. You want those big swings. So yeah, patterns, yeah, trend lines and all that stuff matter. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, at the core, if I'm being just brutally honest about why this is on the watch list, is, hey, nice volume surge in the afternoon after volume having dropped off through basically the entire afternoon. So is this volume surge the start of even more bigger volume to come on Friday? Let's see what happens. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool and how it can and should be used to build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the free training, or like I said, because it will be tonight. So Thursday, August 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern. But if you already have something on your schedule, or if maybe you're watching it Friday morning, you've missed it. Like I said, the live event will be recorded. So go ahead and drop me an email there, and I would be happy to send you a recording after the event is done. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, if you would like for me to continue to do this, then help me out with two simple things. Hit that like button and leave a simple comment. Say hi. Tell me what you traded today. Tell me what you're watching tomorrow. But those two things not only help me out in the feedback department, but just help out the channel, help out these videos in general, which I really do appreciate. So hopefully I'll be seeing you here in just a few hours. But if not, go ahead, drop me an email. Everybody take care. Have a good one.